Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 421st Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, February 24th, 2022. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be host here once again in these weekly Knowledge Seekers workshops. And once again, we are joined with Mr. Mayran Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, who will be presenting today's workshop, and we look forward to that. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin today?
Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual. Whenever you listen to this series of Knowledge Seekers of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, we welcome you back. As knowledge seekers, we share knowledge and know-how, and somehow some of us know a little bit more, shares a little, and some of us who has more emotional feeling bring the essence of the soul into our work. As we carry on in bringing to understand the parallel similarities and the work of the soul and the physicality, we come to the point that we need to understand in a deeper way how to create a soul condition which can in turn interact with the physical body of the man, the soul of the physicality, and the soul of man. The reason for this is, at the moment we think we live on our own. We walk in the jungles, we become a single sailors on the oceans of this planet, and we think that's it. We are escaped from it. There is nobody around. But in fact, you are far from the truth. In a neighborhood, in the city, we have a few people around us. We have to deal with a few souls. In the oceans, we have to deal with the millions of fishes and everything else. So in the jungles, we have all those trees and shrubs. It's more crowded for the soul of the man in the jungle and the ocean than in the cities, where we have taken everything out. We put brick blocks and we nominate how many people live in each block, in each room, in each house. So we have restricted the interaction of the soul of the man. In the jungles, in the oceans, there is no such a restriction. You go to the wood, I'll go to walk in the forest to feel good. Why? Because you got more cells, you got more souls, and you got more trees to share with. It means you get from them, you gain from them, you give to them. Maybe the first time we look at going to the walk in the park, walking in the jungle, or becoming a sailor in the ocean will have a different meaning. If we are not allowed, we're going in a more crowded place with less dimensions of physicality as we think, but in fact, we are more crowded, we share more, we enjoy more. Subconsciously, we connect to every soul of every tree. We subconsciously connect to every rabbit, the cat or dog, which is in the park or in the jungle or in the oceans. We have a whale underneath us. We share our thoughts and the dimension of the soul with millions of fishes beneath us and the rest. Now we understand why we love to go to the jungles and we go into the greens and we like the oceans and we do things. Because we create more dimension of interaction. Giving more brings more, enlightens more. This is very fundamental to the understanding of the man. We do the same thing in the enhancement unit. When you go in the enhancement unit, you're not on your own. Come on, we put another 34 huge systems working with you, giving to you, and you're taking from their souls. And then you're taking from the collective soul. In a way, we share more. I can't get 34 people in a cramped part of enhancement unit, but I can surely do better, because now 34 is the order of magnitude. In a way, it's 10 times 34 because they're so close, they have to interact. And on top of it, We have 35. Your soul of physicality. You walk into the jungle of plasma. You walk into the jungle of emotion of the souls of the plasmas. Now you understand why it's effective. If we can give enough to your soul that your soul says, that's it, guys, take it, you open up. You open the soul beyond the boundary of physicality. There is no magic in the science of space technology. It's understanding how to do and how to create the illusion of magic. We place massive amount of reactors in one position. What do we do when we give you the vision unit? What do we do when we give you the what we call vision and emotion unit? We create more to share with. You open up, you open to give more because you see them lower than you, because they are not as close composition of the body of the man and the cell of your brain and the rest of it. In a way, we make a giver out of you. In a way, when you have to deal in enhancement unit with another 34 crowded souls, now you understand. You get carried away and the soul opens up to give to all. You look as you are receiving from the enhancement units, but our composition of the material is set in a specific way to encourage you. Come on, darling, give, open up. You remember when I told you when you go into the enhancement unit, you might see a light coming up. That light is the expansion of your soul. We are not playing magic. This is not a card game that we hide and say, this is there, you sign it, and then we show it to you out of the back of the card. We teach you the truth. We teach you what it is. Then you understand. Then when I tell you we put these systems in the prisons of today, we have no more criminals. What do you think it comes from? Where do you think it comes from? We open, and at the time when we open the soul, in passing the soul of physicality corrects everything, puts everything in order, everything becomes a balance. I commit a crime to get attention. I commit a crime to come back and to be the others that cannot handle outside. Now, I satisfy that need that you don't need to commit a crime to get the pleasure of attention from your own soul. There is no magic in the plasma technology. It's understanding how the magician has set the game as a magician of the creator. This is what we do. This is how we should be. This is why when we go into the enhancement units, if you wish, you share. If you get to command of it, you can share of it. This is the beauty about this technology. I can put you in every system we have, and you still would die of your own cancer, because you are more important to show the emotion of your own feeling to yourself than to the others. Self-pitying, self-pitying, the soul of the physicality to the soul of the man. Oh, you do what you like. Give me cancer here or there. At least I self-satisfy the demand, the need that I did something right. I do exist. And I need the attention to be given. The whole psychosomatic, what we call in the body of the man, exists between the psycho, what we call soul somatic too, between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality. And it needs the junior to be fed, to be looked after, to be there to pay attention to. How do we connect? How do we see? Last week I asked Rick to put the covalent bond on the scene, on the screen for you to see. What did you understand from it? What did it bring to you as scientists? What did it brought home as a man of knowledge seekers? I have changed this, what you call the groups of the Keshe, Romanian, English, whatever Corona team to Keshe, Romanian, Keshe, English, knowledge team. You are not anymore knowledge seekers. As a team, you are a collection. You are a collective knowledge of the creation. It's how you join up counts from now. We have taught you how to become as part of a person to be a knowledge seekers, as a group to be a knowledge seekers, but as a English or Chinese collective soul has the collective knowledge of the creation. So you have the knowledge. Individually, we are the seekers. Collectively, we are the possessors. This is why when all possess the same, they're all the same. The Chinese, the English, whatever. Universal Council member is equal, connected. The science of the plasma technology is understanding the position, the transportation, transmutation, sharing of the fields of the creator, and no more. You haven't created anything new. It's not a cooking pot to make a Chinese food. We are a cooking pot as a human race for the creator who has cooked us to this point to be what we are, who we are. He wants to see what taste do we have, who enjoy us when it comes in interaction and not in eating. In a way, we cook food and we enjoy it, how it tastes and what it is. The creator watches what his manipulation of the fields creates and enjoys the existence of. We are nothing but a cooking part of fields of the universe, and we think as a human race we control everything. The teaching of the Keshe Foundation is to show you how you mix the fields of the universe in this cooking pot, and how you can move one field to another to make taste better, look the same, or to be different. There is nothing, whatever we teach you in the knowledge of the what we call enhancement systems, is nothing but playing, manipulating with the fields of the creator, because the units we create is created out of the essence of its fields. When you see what we call in a chemistry or in a physics interaction of the materials, why do they come about? How do electrons position themselves to create a bonding of the two, but not touching of the two? We still stay two separate atoms, but we share a couple of electrons that we stay in balance. That one doesn't lead to the destruction of that. And when the field of the outer boundaries of the electrons of the system of an atom is slightly matching, they don't interact. Voila. You cannot mix water with oil. It doesn't go. But when you can share, you accept you exist. Have you ever swum in the ocean as a diver? Have you ever swum in the oceans in the free water when there are millions of fishes? Have you ever seen a flock of birds flying, hundreds of thousands of them, never touching each other? Have you ever thought, have you ever imagined what's the process? How come these guys fly and they don't even flip? How come so billions of fishes swim next to each other and they don't touch? Look at the covalent bond on the table. Every animal, even a man, has what we call the process of the strength of the separation of the soul. Is a magnet preset. Is a plasma preset. You cannot come closer. You can push it, but you can't touch it. This is how the birds fly from one point to another and land in the same place, mixing the plasma of the soul and the plasma of the fields of the what we call the earth and the soul of physicality, landing on the same place. Geo, direct, 3 points. The destination is the 4th point of the star formation. always land on the same place. If you have ever swum in the ocean, which many of you must have done, and if you be clever, wise enough to mimic the strength field of the fish in a school of the fish, they surround you. They don't walk away from you. When you see a school of fish runs away from you, means you haven't created the field, the strength to be part of them. You're an outsider with a bigger field strength. I used to fly and swim in the ocean of Bahamas for several years. That was my holiday time. That was where I learned a lot about the creation. I used to go into the ocean and I used to get lost in the ocean, never had a fear. I always used to come to the school of fishes, hundreds of thousands of them, and they used to surround me, and I was part of them. I was cocooning them. I explained this many times to my friends and family. And I could see them. They never touched me, but I was in there with them. It was just like what I call being sandwiched in. I became like a meat pie, meat in the middle, and the pie was the fishes. I could communicate with them. I could understand how, as I swam, they created the space for me that you're there, you have the space. And somehow, I never known, I was explaining to some knowledge seekers very recently, I always landed back on the beach. I never ended up in the middle of the ocean to get lost. I tried many times to go and get lost, but it didn't work. Because I could create a field dimension of the fishes. The same strength, keep distance, but they are part of us. Be committed to the peace with us. We are committed to accept you as part of us. Human race is me in the water, and the fishes is the unicorns. All the fields of the universe, the universal community, they accommodate us, but they don't touch because we haven't learned to tune in them. They're always keeping out. We are not in. We understand the positioning because I can create a soul in a dimension of the soul of a fish. Humble enough. I can create a soul in the strength of the creator. Humble enough, which is even lower than the fish. The problem with the human race is always looks at bigger to be the center of the black hole, which controls all, is the smallest part in the center, not the bigger dimension of the black hole. It's the center which is the smallest, which is humble enough to give that it receives. When you look at the center of a black hole, when you look at the center of the galaxy, when you look at the center of the universe, when you look at the center of the soul of the man, you have reached the point of understanding the position of the creator, humble enough to give, small enough not to be. Maybe now you understand why I always call myself a knowledge seeker and not a teacher. Humble enough to learn, humble enough to be in that position that the soul allows to share, to expand, to be. The process of understanding the creation of the soul is the position where mankind in the coming time, as I said, will create his physical children. Not anymore by egg and sperm, but by the soul of the man and the soul of the woman. And then the womb of the mother can become the embedded position for the soul to gather enough that it decides the dimension of its physicality. We have no choice, now that we are aware of this, to extended knowledge of the plasma, the extent of the knowledge of the strength of the soul of the man, the strength of the knowledge of the field interaction within a package, be it an electron, be it a neutron, be it a star, be it a galaxy, be it the universe, be it the universe, be it the soul of the creator or the man, which both have the same strength in the inner sanctum. And that's how they are connected. I accommodate you, but you're a free fish, but you're part of us as a school of fish. But change the fish to the soul, change the soul to packages of the magnetic fields interaction and the size. Because in essence, in the center of every plasma is the same source. Same source that strength, otherwise it cannot create a position and dimension. I'm not afraid of destruction of my soul. I'm proud to share what I have, that the others can be elevated as part of me. Because when they're elevated, I am me within them. Not as me, but as us. As collective fields that we create a new dimension. The cooking pot of the creator for its fields is how these fields interact and how much more or less they receive from the others that create different taste, color, shapes, and strength. The color red from the blue is the orientation and the strength of the fields within the plasma of the object which creates it and nothing else. And if I push a little, I can change from blue to red, or from red to blue if I take what I need. And if in that process I learn how to be a constant giver at a certain point of the strength of the fields of the plasma, I can shine as a blue and not just be the blue. In essence, when you look at the star, imagine what the pure soul that entity has, and it does nothing but giving. Irrespective of its position and what might happen to itself in the coming time to become its demise. When you see a sun, you see a lover. When you see a sun, you understand the attributes of the Creator, which itself, in darkness of it, is the sun that shines within it. Read the paper about the creation of black hole. Then you understand in the dimension of creation, there is no black. It's interaction of the fields which does not allow certain field strength at a certain given point and position to escape into the dimension of the plasma inner sanctums to protect it, not to protect the fields of it to come outside. Stephen Hawking never understood this. And when he copied the paper, he never got the essence of it. You have to understand, go back into it. It says inside a black hole is a star, is a source, it's a shining interaction. Isn't that blackness that what it gives and it's all it takes to create balanced position is what we do as a human race. We block everything and we take everything. Block to give, but receive as much as we can. Become self-centered and selfish. We become the possession, the possessor. Then you understand what creates the emotion within the brain of the man, where to look for the emotion of possession, where to look for the emotion of what they call holding on to and keeping. Look for a black hole, darker cell of the what I call layers of the brain of the man. But in the future, the scientists open this door, they'll understand how truth the point is. The different color, the darker shade of the brain of the man dictates, confirms the emotion which that part handles. Now you understand the connection between the soul of physicality, and the intermediary, the brain of the man, what we call the emotion of the interaction. We call ourselves vegetarian. We call ourselves meat eaters. We call ourselves we don't eat. We don't eat animals. Do you want me to open a chapter in this for you to understand how your soul gets elevated, receives energy from the outside in the kingdom of the life? Go back into my teachings for past years. I always said, man consumes 20% of the food he needs. 80% comes from atmosphere. Some of it we see, some of it we don't. Some of it we are aware of, but we never understood. Some of it we talk about the others, but we never look at ourselves. We are that others too. I taught in depth, but some of you never understood, and most of you were just busy absorbing the knowledge, didn't have to digest the time to understand it. Let's go back on a very simple principle. Go back to your CO2 boxes. What happens in your CO2 box? In a CO2 box, due to inherent conditions we create deliberately, we create the soul of CO2. Soul which is hungry to give, but in giving it receives. A CO2 box or CH3 box are the only things you as knowledge seekers have graduated to knowledge of to create a gaseous or matter state fields. In a copper, you use nano-coated copper and a copper, and you create the soul of the copper, and the other copper plate is ready to give, and you create the GaNs of copper. In the CO2, you create the soul of the CO2 magnetic field. And as a giver, they all come to take, and they convert to the CO2. But that's not the point. The most important point in the process of showing the CO2 was to look at the amino acid on the top. In coming to give the carbon to create with the oxygen, CO2 GaNs, because now I'm a needer, I want it because I want to do something with it, you produce the CO2. But the amino acid is gathered on the top the same way. You collect the amino acid to put it aside. Hello. The old sayings, what are you looking for? What did you miss? What was the part that you did not understand in this process? Why does your CO2 box get saturated and does not create more CO2s? Hello? What happened to the amino acid? Haven't understood yet? I'll give you another example. As I said many times, you vegans and vegetarians understand this very well because you taste it, you know it, and you're more sensitive to it. When you put a leaf of lettuce, when you taste it, softness of slipping in your tongue, in your mouth, the texture of the softness of the leaves of the vegetables you put as a salad, and the slipping and sliding is the amino acid, is life, which gave its life for the leaf to absorb from it to feed itself. Again, amino acid, the slippiness is the amount of the amino acid, the fatness which sits on it. You actually don't get much from the content of the physicality of the leaf. You get from what fat, what amino acid is on the leaf that converts into energy of the amino acid of your stomach, and it becomes part of your energy. Wash the leaf much harder with more detergent, and you take most of it away. But you have to eat more of them to compensate for the physical dimension. The leaf has used that amino acid to absorb energy from the universe to itself that it guarantees its life. But why does the leaf get crumbled and then get destroyed or whatever? Because that field strength creating the fields between the two plates changes, and the atmosphere is not there to compensate for the amino acid of that strength. The leaf goes yellow, and then it cannot compensate, it goes dry, but it still carries layers of the amino acid during its lifetime. So it has absorbed energy from the environment to survive. It never ate, it just created circulation as we have in a CO2 box. Now come to you as a humans. Hello. Have you just come out of the shower? Wiped everything with the best shampoos and the soaps, the most expensive ones, to wash yourself to feel clean? Why do you do this? Why do you feel good when you wash your face and hand and your body? Because you remove the amino acid which is your body has absorbed from the environment. You call it, my skin comes out, and you wash the skin off. But what was on top of it before you wash the skin off? The amino acid of the atmosphere. The 80% of the extra food which you absorb from the environment partially has come in from the amino acid. Next time when you're sitting and you're playing with your forehead and you see it's a bit greasy and a bit oily, say, thank you for feeding me. That amino acid is the essence of the fields which gets absorbed by the body inside. The composition of the fields of the work of the blood and the brain dictates what amino acid gets absorbed on your skin, that this energy is needed for inside. Wash yourself better, absorb better. But why do we go old? why do we change? Because the heartbeat, the physicality changes and cannot absorb the same amino acid strength as before. Now you are collecting a compound now, a deviation now, which that deviation gives you the old age skin. Because it has to fringe and make more surface area, and you get crinkly skins that you absorb more energy for the inner organs of your body. Now you understand. There is no difference between you and the leaf and your CO2 box. You're all absorbing energies from the environment in a composite fields of this planet, which is the essence of the creation as amino acid. Now you know where your 80% comes. Wash your face with better soaps and wash yourself with different soaps and do whatever you like. As your soap has a composition of different amino acids, it changes that you receive variation of for a while till that balances, you go back in again till you wash. Now you understand how the knowledge of creation in man is so back to front. Then look at why you get temperatures. Look at why there's a limitation at 42 degrees or 44 degrees. You start having the loosening of the brain cells and all sorts of problems when you pass such a temperature. Because at that temperature, within a structural physicality of the body of the man, amino acid compounds change position. And if it goes too high, they open up to create the same position as with the fishes, with the what we call covalent bond, and the cell cannot hold on to. Now you understand the essence of life from the plasmatic magnetic field position. In the condition of enhancement unit, I transfer the energy of the amino acid in a given way directly into the direction inside the body of the man. Not waiting for it to stick as a what we call resisting skin and then going in as what it needs. I was talking to a knowledge seeker recently and said, you know, these creams have a lot of zinc in them. I said, yes, because zinc is the link of emotion. And isn't the skin of man in the middle layer where we feel everything, all our emotions, how we get touched, we are pinched, we are pressed, we are beaten? You deal with a skin condition, you have to have a zinc because it's the combination between the zinc and the salt composition which gives you the emotion, connection, feel the strength to the brain of the man and to the soul of the man. Now you understand when you come to the skin problems, which I always give you, use the CO2, the zinc, and the amino acid of the zinc and amino acid of the CO2. You look at the CO2, but how can I make the connection with your skin when you put my fat on it, the amino acid which came with it, that it matches your skin? Mr. Keshe, it worked. It works because we understand the process of creation. We understand the process of the interaction of the field. Now, with new technologies, with new emergence of the knowledge, we bring new dimensions. We bring new know-how. We bring new technologies. Because now we can create stones which absorb certain plasmas, certain amino acids that that amino acid in the stone can create a condition in the body of the man. So we give you a stone to put in your pocket. No, because we know you're a human. You need to be connected to the amino acid of it. Next time, you women or men, you touch your diamond rings, you touch your silver earrings and necklaces, don't clean them, don't wipe them. Smother them in the amino acid of silver and see what feelings you get. Smother them with the amino acid of what you have created in the level. And then you see the jewelry will have different meaning. Most of you will take it off and you never put it on again. Because that hunger of position and that field of strength is satisfied in the dimension of the direct field. You don't see a need to wear jewelry. Because in essence, you create the fields within you that you receive it without the need for it to be there, that you absorb some of the amino acid. Many of you have seen me for years. I wear nothing because these are positions. I'm with it. I have everything. I don't need to attach to me to have something else with. Then you satisfy the needs. Then you understand why we even talk about the amino acid. Because look at the combination of the plasma of it. A complete cycle, sustainable in every dimension. Even you dry the fruit, the amino acid is still within it because it can change its composition. It just needs energy transfer in a given direction and dimension. That's why we plant our water, we water our plants to create that connection that the amino acid in the environment can interact with it, that it receives energy. We put the seed in the ground and it grows. Why? What's the essence of it? The earth layers are filled with the given strength amino acid. Now we bury the seed and we put the fat on it. It receives it and it grows. We did tests in China with the Chinese knowledge seekers and officials watching it. They never understood how I play the game, but it was very easy to see they have not understood a little bit. It takes 11 days for a tiger nut to show the first shoot. It takes another 4 days for the shoot to split, and every time you get a new shoot, you get a new seed in the root that it has to feed that shoot. So you get cluster of tiger nuts in the ground. You put the fertilizers or whatever, after 15 days, you get 2 shoots. We understand the knowledge. We add a specific way amino acid to the seed. We shoot in 4 days, we split, and by the 15 days, we are few cycles and shoots ahead of. What it takes a farmer to do in 3 months, we do in less than a month, because now we have put the condition of that. This is the knowledge of understanding the process of creation. Then you can play with it. Then you see how the magic of technology manifests itself. In the next week or two, Keshe Foundation might have a huge surprise for knowledge seekers in the dimension of technology. Our technology, which has been expanded by knowledge seekers. Those who are privy to the inner work of the foundation will tell you, you all are sitting for one of the biggest magics in the world of science and technology, with the Keshe Foundation most probably will deliver new materials, new technologies from our website, but not this time for knowledge seekers, but the world of economy. You still can have a few pieces to test, but we come in conjunction with those who have developed our technology in the background into a big step. If the things happens the way we hope, then you will see maybe by next Thursday, massive injection of new technologies, new products into the international world of people who have understood our technology and taken it a step further. But they're humble enough that they want to share, they want to bring it back out. Because in the same process, we still use the amino acid. We still be able to give a room to go in and walk out and say, I'm not hungry, I don't need to kill. I'm satisfied, because everyone understands that this room is the room to share the beauty and the energies of the soul of the man and the totality. We are entering a next phase, and it's time, as I said, the soul of the man collectively to come to that position. The change will come when we all understand the technology, not by one giving and all of us monkey see, monkey does. It is the process of understanding. And this is why the teaching of past 2 or 3 weeks has been this way, to bring you to understand, to bring you to be part of, to bring you not to copy. Yeah? We understand this, we are part of it, and as part of it, we have to understand the process. Now you understand the connection between the soul and the physicality and life of the man. When that amino acid is absorbed on your forehead and you see my hair is gone greasy, hello, have you understood what has happened to you? Have you noticed, by coincidence, how much your emotion and your feeling changes, absorption of knowledge changes by greasiness of your hair, by greasiness of your skin? And what that greasiness, which is the amino acid not coming from your skull as you think, is coming from outside, because now you're that CO2 box. What emotion do you create within the brain that calls for this amino acid? Now you understand physicality has a different meaning. Now you understand our structure is a complex systems of just creating conditions to absorb energy from its environment. You thought the greasiness comes from your skin up. My dears, how far wrong have you been? You have created inside the fields exactly the same as that CO2 box. The liquid inside the CO2 box is your blood. Circulates, creates a field strength that calls for that amino acid. When I'm in Japan, I don't have a greasy hair. When I come to Europe, my hair becomes greasy. I don't know why. Because the Japanese culture and the way they pay you attention and the way what you eat in the physical dimension does not need greasy hair for you to absorb energy from the space. You substitute it with a fish and a sushi and shiso and the rest of it. Here you don't, but the brain and the soul still needs that feeding of it. So what do? I call it in, I create the energy within your blood to call what I need. It becomes a greasy head to you, but it's actually feeding energy fancy. But at that process, now you've changed to satisfy that need. Other things in the body don't match and you get a cancer of the greasy hair, the cancer, because you don't get that cancer in Japan because you've already been satisfied by it. How many different types of cancers through emotion and fields now we attract and we create due to not understanding the work of the fields of the universe. Would the knowledge seekers in a coming time create soaps which gives that filter for absorption of the certain universal fields that make man wise to understand the knowledge of the universe? Quite possible if you're clever enough, if you understood the technology. When you start going into the enhancement unit, John is pushing, it says, I want my units here this month, has to be. When you go to enhancement units in Arizona in the next few weeks, and John is happy to show you the latest technology in space development, touch your forehead and see how greasy it is before and how greasy it is after. And what kind of grease? Amino acid. Now you understand. John is about to receive his units in the next couple of weeks or so, the first of the vision units. And I'm sure many knowledge seekers will behave and treat it like Mecca, to go and just sit and sit in it. If you don't need it, sitting in it doesn't bring you any feeling. If you don't sit in it, and when you sit in it, you feel emotional, what is satisfied in the strength of the amino acid of the fields of the brain in which part? You fed yourself with the roots, with the fruits, with everything else which goes with it too, because you didn't understand that you're just absorbing the amino acid. Now we control that amino acid. We control what is left over that you're absorbing within the fruit or the animal with the systems we give you that you don't need to kill. It satisfies the need. And when the need is satisfied, nobody shall kill. There is a beautiful village, city, or a town in Sudan. It's observed by United Nations. And when I was explained this by the officers of the United Nations, they don't leak it that much out, you have to find it. There are some references to it on the internet. In this village or in this town, they create like a roundabouts or corners with 2 entrance doors on 2 sides of the street. It means you can enter this building or this structure from 2 and sometimes 3 sides. And the purpose of this is to satisfy a need. That does not lead to infringement for the other things to commit a crime with. And men or women who are lonely or would like to have an interaction, physical interaction with another, they go into this from one door, or the woman comes out in the other door and satisfies the need, and they go out from the door or that. Nobody sees who came in and nobody sees who goes out. And who is with what to satisfy what. But satisfies a need in the society that it stops the prostitution, raping of the children, and everything else which the community in the West suffers with. United Nations keeps a lot of documentation about a lot of tribes and their habits, and this is one of them. If you find into the United Nations archives and knowledge, a lot has been gathered. I had the privilege to be able to access some of this during my work with them, and because they knew what I'm looking for. How creation and the created accommodate each other. How there is a tribe in Africa which there is no sexuality till puberty, and at the point of puberty they switch to what is short in the community and possibly short in the next 30, 40 years. We need more boys or less girls, and there are too many. The soul decide. Operation of the soul of the collective community decides what gender we're going to be. How we create more boys or we create less girls, or we do things because we estimate there'll be enough boys in the community, enough girls. What did these people do? How did they elevate their souls? They don't make a decision. They don't go there, I want to be a girl, I want to be a boy. The soul decides. Psychosomatic. We have matured to that point. Why did we lose it? If a race of us has matured to reach that point, we should have had it too. When you disbalance the position by force, you have the problems in the Chinese community of today. We have 20 million, 30 million extra boys. When it came to one child per family, the Chinese girls are taboo. Boys are wealth. Because when they get married, they bring money in. What did they do? They found out if it's a boy or a girl, abortion the girl. And now we have 20, 30 million Chinese boys who cannot find a partner. Wouldn't it be better for the Chinese government to understand the operation of the soul and broad satisfaction? People, we need not to grow. The nation cannot give. Instead of forcing it papers into the parliaments and the councils, teach the nation the need of it. Wouldn't have done the same thing as what the African village did? Isn't this another way for population control by man to decide what we have, what we can feed, what we can produce? And now that we can feed from the energies of the universe, what did I tell you? We are underpowered by 7 billion. Would our race start creating new cycle of children of the soul, that as more of us depart from this planet into the space of the universe, we have enough to support the life on this planet? We don't become empty villages which everybody has left for town and it's a ghost buildings. I traveled through one of these ghost areas in the past few days. It's amazing. Houses will just be full of life, hardly nobody. Mankind has to understand from now on what its soul does in respect to its society, not just himself, and how he can adjust it like the fishes, that they understand without touching each other, but they keep the space to the space of the fields of their souls that creates the strength to keep them distance and no accidents. Isn't this the way the new cycle of the Keshe Foundation flight system will work? And I told you a few weeks ago, there will be no banging, there will be no accident with the new technology, because it even feels the soul of a child standing on a pavement wanting to cross. It's a new technology. It's understanding the technology of the creation, which brings the new dimension to the knowledge seekers. As seekers of the knowledge of the plasma, we have to understand how our bodies, how our life has physically positioned itself to create a condition, the color of the eye, the skin, and everything else. And I don't want to be in New York, in Harlem, with a white skin. I don't feel good. So when I go to Harlem, and I have a black skin because my soul feels my psychiatry is okay, but I still have to wear the watch, the gun, and the knives because I have to learn the culture. So because I use my soul understand the culture, I stay safe. So shall be when I go to planet Zeus. Try to understand the operation of the amino acid. The teaching of today is to understand the transfer of the energy where that 80% comes from. Don't forget that some of the energies we create within our soul to absorb the energies of the universe do not necessarily end up an amino acid on the skin. That is just for the emotion. Some of them transfer as amino acid inside the cell of the body of the man. Some of them become those neutrinos that they just give enough energy because I just don't need it, but just need it to go through to absorb what I need for creation of specific energy fields in the strength field of the soul of the man. Man does not create it on this earth. The atmospheric condition of the solar system doesn't allow it, but I need it for my life. Now you understand in the teaching of path why I said we absorb cosmic rays, we absorb fields from the universe because we don't have it here, but the soul needs it for its existence. It's that what I call vitamin H. Or in some cases, I call it the X factor in process of the creation. Because that vitamin H is the health fields that does not exist for man on this planet. That's why when we travel the depth of the space, we receive those field strength, what we call vitamins, that satisfies the body of the man, the life of the man. Man does not get cancer because he absorbs it without the filtering of the atmosphere, without the filtering of the solar system, without filtering of the galaxy. As I said to the IAEA very directly recently, I can create nuclear material out of water. What are you trying to restrict us? I can create gamma rays, I can create whatever cosmic rays from just a glass of water. Isn't this what I did that the damn forsaken nation of Belgium put me as a terrorist because they said the only way you can create graphene is only through the use of gamma rays. Did I use gamma rays? No. I created the field that within the structure of the carbon allows carbon-14, which is the backbone of creation of the fields of the universe in the radiation, able to be created. And man has not even understood how to create carbon-14. Because I have the knowledge of the universe, I understand the interaction of the fields. Hello? H2O? Hello? 16 and 2 hydrogen. If I can change the 2 hydrogen in a specific way to deuterium, which I know how to do, doesn't leave me a carbon-14. Now you understand. Belgium did to me, made me a terrorist, a criminal. Didn't do that to the guy who said the earth is not the center of the universe. They hung him. in a church in Pisa. Now you understand. Now you understand how the lack of understanding and ignorance has become the medieval ages with the damnation of Belgium, with the criminals and pedophiles who their object is to abuse the body and the science, body of the children. We gave to mankind the most advanced technology. And what did they do? They made a criminal out of us. We punished them by not receiving the knowledge. It dragged it for 7 years, 8 years. Now we open it. Understanding the knowledge is more important than trying to use the knowledge, because when you understand it, you apply it when you can. But you have to know how to use it. You have to know what conditions you create that leads to what you need. Orientation of the carbon-14 in the interaction of the fields of the universe continuously creates the fields which leads to creation of the cosmic rays. When man understands this, man has cracked the secrets of creation. For me, as a passenger of universe, is an alphabet of the vocabulary of the science. It's actually the A of it, because without it you can't have the B. But you have not understood it yet. A pedophile policeman makes the biggest science in the world, in the life of the man, a crime. And then they send a woman to make sure the scientist is killed and they can do what they like. You've got to understand the knowledge I've given you in the creation of the CO2, in the CO2 box. Look at it. Why did I give you the first box as a CO2? Carbon-12. What did I just explain with you with the oxygen, with the presence of the hydrogen? Haven't I given you carbon-14 without you understanding it? I've given you the basic alphabet of the creation in the world of the creator, and you still, what happened when we put the CO2 in and you get this and it doesn't work? Go to the structure of the body of man. You call it B12. Can you create OB9, which folic acid? Hello, I'm pregnant. And folic acid, you need faster division of the cells, which comes from radiation. I have given you the radiation creation in the fields of the universe. And you're still entangling, what would I do with the amino acid? What would I do with the creation of gas CO2? If you understand this, I have given you both the knowledge of the earthly knowledge and the knowledge of the universe in creation in your CO2 box. But you don't have the knowledge. And I've been looking at this for years. I said, when is humans going to see what they've got? Go and read the report of IMEC, which says they have detected graphene on the first parachutes. We gave it to the government of Belgium to test. And they said this is using a nuclear gamma rays, and the case is a terrorist. Damn the nation that has held the humanity back behind by 10 years. I'll see an end to the nation of Belgium and blood of Belgium on this planet, because they've done enough damage. Not only to mankind, but to the children of the man. This race should have never been created. and should have not brought so much hardship to humanity. When we wish the end, we process it that will come to an end. Because the rest of the humanity has to move forward and live with the pleasure of the knowledge. You know, when I explained to you before that we come here to taste, to test, to understand, I had to come here to understand this process of the humanity which lives within this blood. And now we know what to do with it. We elevate it that it doesn't exist, but elevate it to the doldrums of the universe, not promotion of higher, because they have to learn. Listen to the teaching. You become a dust in the soul of another because you have not chosen to understand. Go back into what I call the original teachings. Go back to understanding the gas boxes we gave you. Understand now and look at it with a new eye. In a dimension of universal knowledge, not in a dimension of the man knowledge of plasma. I have given you the biggest gift in the knowledge of humanity and the universe if you know how to use it. I gave you the nanomaterial for conversion. I gave you the understanding of nanotechnology from the matters of itself to understand in conjunction with the others, you will create the condition of existence. Now you understand. The secret of the knowledge to connect man to the universal energies is your CO2 box. Go back to it and redo it. But this time, don't look at it in the dimension of just the CO2. Look at it in the dimension of the fields of transformation and division in the universal level. Then you might see what will be achieved in the enhancement unit in getting man into space. Do I need to elevate the whole body of the man to move it? Or do I create a condition of the carbon-14 and the level of the dimension of position and the place in the universe that I can deliver the soul to the point and the position? Be it New York, be it Moon, be it Jupiter, or another dimension in the universe. The technology of today is so mature. What I have taught you is so complete that if you understand it, man will not stay in the dimension of the physicality to suffer. You have both. The two key communication line of the universe in your hand. Go back to my teachings. Go back to all the medical teachings. Go back every time we touched about the health of the man. We said carbon is a connector, is the line of communication. Macro and micro. In the dimension of physicality of the man, you have carbon 2. In the dimension of connection of the universal, you have carbon 14. In some part of the universe, you come to carbon 16, and in some part of the universe, you carbon 8. Understand why. What is the proposition? What is the understanding of it? What fields does it create that allows the composition and creation of sustaining a plasma? We call it life. Now you understand how fundamental the knowledge is and how much you've been taught the what I call human, earthly matter state, but at the same time, in parallel, you had the knowledge of the universal communication and process of understanding. This is part of our work. And I just see Rick posting something. It says carbon 14. balances connection and locks between the physicality and soul. I don't know when this is published.
It says May 2019. It's in the KF Plasma Times, Mr. Keshe.
Is part of the teaching. So you see, we have not missed. Now you understand. Now you understand the key of man to become the passengers of the universe in any dimension without physicality is your CO2 box. You have physical, it has emotion with it. I gave you creating zinc boxes. You have muscle tissue. I gave you copper boxes. But originally, I gave you the key to connection between universal and the earth matter state. So now, when you go to another dimension, which zinc doesn't exist, but it could be platinum, you make the gas of platinum, you have the emotion of the space and time. Now you understand how simple it is. When you know how to walk, you can dance and you can jump. You can dance to the beauty of the knowledge you have, and you can jump from one dimension to another, from one nation to another, from one race to another, from one position to another. Now you understand why I said the teaching now become to understand the interaction of the both. What you need as energy to extend the elevation of the soul within that structure, and what you need to give in the structure of the physicality to create that promotion. I am a master of the teaching. As I said in the teaching of Tuesday, in addressing the Universal Council, we are the messengers from the depth of the soul of the Creator. And we have the full knowledge. It depends what our audience understand. When you are in the nursery, you go blah, 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 blah for the child to understand. When you come to the first year, we give you the alphabet. When you go to university, we show you the bigger picture of the knowledge. And when you graduated in the knowledge of the universe, we teach you the process of the graduation to be able to access. And at the moment, we speak blah, 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 blah. Because the man, that's as much as he understands. And with this teaching, we are bringing you to understanding of to come into the plus one that we are finished with blah, 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 blah. Maybe to get a smile on your lips. Now we get the smile of knowledge. I understood what RA is and how I can use it. Today's teaching is again connecting the energies of the universe. Understand it. Remember that amino acid on your skin has a carbon connection. Do you want it to be carbon 14? Do you want it to be 40% carbon 14? You want it to be 10% carbon 14 and the rest carbon 12. The carbon 14 side elevates your soul. The carbon 12 still feeds your physicality and connects to your other dimensions. Two people have crossed the line in the Keshe Foundation in the past years, but they never understood. One is Alex in Nigeria. He touched it and he jumped it because he was too busy seeing too many interesting things. He was in the zoo with too many animals. He got carried away. The other person walked in it, but he watched it and thought, he's got to hit it today, was John in Arizona. None of you I have seen any progress even coming near to this knowledge. We have one knowledge seekers in South China Sea who has understood most of it, and they castrated him. I spent 2 years with him in South China Sea, working with him. He is the only knowledge seeker who understood the knowledge of creation. I want to know, when you as knowledge seekers become as knowledgeable as him to understand how they're going to castrate you. Only one knowledge seeker out of millions of you has attained that knowledge fully in a worth of, let's say, 40%, 50%. And he has no education. Alex is the next one. People who have no blockages of knowledge from the past with the degrees and PhDs see it through their life. Those who have and read something try to fix it to fit to what they read, so it doesn't work. The biggest crime Chinese government ever allowed to happen was respect to this knowledge. He would have opened the door of the knowledge into the Chinese community beyond their imagination. I made the Chinese flying system with him. I shared the knowledge of creation with him. We built the flying systems. There was no talk. When we loaded, he was there. He knew exactly what it needs to be done. He knew what fuels were needed, all on the table. I said to myself, amazing. Because it does not need PhDs to understand. It needs the clarity of the knowledge to understand. And try to understand the knowledge with the clarity of its essence, not what was written in the book of the man who has enslaved him. I hope today you learned how the connection between the soul of the man, the physicality of the man, and the environment comes together. And all this you have done many times. Now you can connect. Is understanding which matters. And if you understood this, you will Maghreb systems which you've been looking for will absorb the energies from the universe and converts it into energy through the line of connection of the carbon within your system to your Maghreb system. You have your generator. And as long as you want to connect the wires and this and that, my friend, still carry on playing. Go back in the books. In one of the books, we have shown the parachute. In one of the books, we have declared that graphene is made in the parachutes. And we forced them to give us the Raman spectroscopy of the confirmation that the carbon-12 exists and the graphene is within it. This is why I gave you the coils. This is why I gave you the Maghreb systems. You have to learn how to connect the Maghreb system to convert, to absorb, to create carbon-14 on the coils that you can absorb the connection to your system as a carbon-12 as energy you're looking for. Now you understand? I gave you the generator. Please, those of you who received MAGRAPH, pay the balance to the Keshe Foundation. This is why some of you who made MAGRAPH systems worked and you have a good energy, power reduction, and some of you does not work. Those of you who have managed to do it, if you look at your coils, the number of coils, the positioning, everything perfect, because you create a spectrum of the carbon-12 field energies. Carbon-12 is not singular. Carbon-12 has a spectrum of field energy, millions of them. And the reason for coiling it is that purpose, to be able to, but the main object of the whole thing that we gave you from the beginning, which the Belgians made it a criminal offense, is how have you managed to create enough graphene on your coils? Mrs. Jalal, your secret MAGRAPH society is on the run. You wanted to make a MAGRAPH system, but you didn't understand where your engine is. Now I gave you the engine. And creating carbon-12 on a copper coils is one of the easiest things to do if you understand how. Now, those of you who claim we haven't given it a generator and Keshe is a fraud, my friend, yes, fraud is Belgian government and its king. Because you didn't understand knowledge. Belgium's confirmed from day one that I've created graphene and I've created carbon-14. These are the source of the energy absorption. That's why on my parachute, when you see the box's original one, you see energies floating everywhere. Do you remember the Eindhoven exhibition conference where I opened the box and said, this is the empty energy box of the universe? What was hanging on the doors of the container? Copper nano-coated parachutes for nailing the roof. Because I created a box with graphene and carbon-14 on the layers of the copper that each one absorbed different energies from the universe. I took that and I made it into the coil and I put it into your MAGRAPHs. You have the, what I call the vortex of the combinations of the carbon-12 energy and carbon-14 conversion in your MAGRAPH system. Excuse me, sir, the fraud is not understanding what you have and not the technology. Denying does not bring clearance. Reconsider now again and again how you nano-coat and how much carbon-14 you can create on it. Now you go back to why we said do not nano-coat with fire or nano-coat with caustic. My friends, Rick, can you put the chemical composition of caustic on this screen, please? And then add a potassium to it. I have given you the carbon-14 generating system. Are you there, Rick?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find it in, say, Wikipedia.
Wikipedia, I just put caustic and bring it up. Bring the potassium. If you read one of the papers, I keep on pushing with potassium because potassium is a it's got some of the potassium. In your toilet cleaners, you used to have it, they withdrew it nowadays. The barbecue cleaning has it. If you, when you use barbecue, it says potassium content, they used to have it. That potassium, due to the potassium 40, which is the reference point in division of the 40 to 42, gives you 3 carbon 14s as a reference point, not as a producer, which allows your oxygen with a combination of the nano coating to convert a copper atom into the combination of itself to the division of the isotope plasmas of carbon 14. Now you understand why 56, which is iron, is magnetic field of this planet. It's the only way which the inner fields of this planet interacts with the carbon 14 of the universe to create planetary system. Because of its position and its dimension. And each planetary system goes for the same way to tune into carbon 14 radiation fields of the universe. That's the only way we keep connection as magnetic fields in the plasma form. As is communication in the body of the man, carbon is a connector, communicator. In the plasmatic field of your magnet is carbon 14 connection. That's how your fields within your magnets within the planetary system work. It keeps in contact with. When the knowledge of the man extends to be able to measure every single field coming out of your solid magnet or planetary system, you will see that connection. It's your carbon 14 isotope strength, which dictates you become cell of a heart, you become a star in what position, or you become blood in the circulation of the body of the man. That's why you have that carbon in everything. That's why in certain position of the body of the man, fields are created, like in thalamus and thymus, that allows the creation, conversion of what we call the isotopes of any elements according to the field strength of the carbon to be given that can convert a matter from one to another. When you lack potassium in your body, or when you lack phosphorus in your body, where does it come from? Through the two glands, cooperation and interaction. In releasing the cosmic ray fields that it gives enough energy for one matter to jump to another, to satisfy the need of the body of the man, or to take as a gravitational field in the carbon 14 connection to complete it. That's why a man living in the North Pole, an Eskimo eating only meat, still produce every other material he needs in his body, and the man who's a vegetarian and eats one kind of food, the still body converts. It's the carbon connection with the support of the glands which create that condition of radiation, what you call B12. B12 is a controlled conversion between C12 and C14, and allowing the conversion with the C to change combination and transmutation of the elements in the body of the man as a plasma. And that's what body has done for billions of years. You're short of vitamin D, the body makes it. You're short of calcium, the body makes it by conversion through the amino acid connection of the body of the man. You got it? Have a look at KOH and NaOH. Do you see that O? Do you see the H next to it? If you be able to control this connection with the H2O, with an extra oxygen and a hydrogen in a plasmatic, not a chemical interaction, you allow one of the oxygens to change into graphene or to change in carbon-14 of the carbon-12. And then this becomes a divider, a supplier of the division of the fields of the other elements to create transmutation between one to another. Without presence of the carbon-12 or the energy fields from a carbon-12 source, transmutation in a plasma condition is impossibilities. Especially if it's going to be repetitive creation of the same. And the body of the man continuously creates repetitively the cell for a given position in the heart, cell given position in the foot, and remembers what it needs, because the emotion of the soul, this emotion of the cell of that point in the body, in interaction with the cosmic ray created by the carbon-14 in thalamus, allows the conversion and sustaining of that field in that position. I'm a genius when it comes to explain it to you, but you're a genius doesn't mean that you understood it so easily. The secret society of the Maghreb community of Jalal, Hassan, and the others, back to the drawing board. Find out how you create carbon-14 on yours, how you create graphene on your nano coils, and then you'll find the source of the energy as a universal energy conversion. But there is a proposal to this. The one you give the Maghreb system, if it is to use the system to benefit and to give from what you receive, this system works. The one who is there to cheat, oh, but the Maghreb system doesn't work. Because now you're working as the man in the middle of the fish. The intentions are clear. I want to be to benefit, to give. Now you understand, in the world of the plasma, has to be correct in every dimension. Thank you very much for today's teaching. I hope we all learned a little bit more and we created more mayhem for those of you who understood it, but you couldn't place it. And there's a lot of blah, 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 blah to those of you who are just here as listeners and you have nothing to do with it. I'd like to go to sleep with the voice of Mr. Keshe. I will create a copyright for putting people to sleep listening to me, but one day you play with your soul as you enjoy it. Thank you very much, Rick. Now you understand how you start bringing the process of both the soul, the physicality, and the nation of transportation and transmutation, by understanding the first basics we started 10, 15 years ago. Thank you very much, Rick. We go for a break and we come back. And I'm sorry, Jalal, I threw a lot of things out of the window you've been working for, but you've got a gorgeous team. Go back and understand, and you'll have the biggest power generator in the universe. Thank you very much for all your team and the hard work. I see you working in the back. I gave you the true universal generator. And if you change the carbon composition in your copper, you can create even energy on the planet Zeus. Thank you very much, Rick. We go for a break and come back.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kesh. So we'll be back here in a few minutes after this intermission here.